Welcome back to the shed, Eva.
Thanks, Jonathan.
I am suppressing laughter because we just recorded 20 minutes and the magic red light was not on and we didn't get any of it recorded, actually. So
you'll never know our secrets.
Yeah, there was so many amazing insights
good.
Revealed previously here. Where were we? You've already done.
We were everywhere. We went everywhere.
Yeah, we've already done all.
We
so
rode
many
all the
things.
way to Lake Oswego and back.
That's right. Why did we ride to Lake Oswego?
We wanted to go swimming in the lake.
That's right. Because they recently made the residents open it up to public access.
I know. Now I need to go swimming in Lake Oswego.
Yeah. We did a How'd She Get There segment, and Eva shared how she would get from Sellwood to Lake Oswego. So I'm going to make you do it again. Because I know everybody wants to know.
All right, I'm there. So I'm taking the bridge. I'm taking the Sellwood Bridge, which if you haven't taken it, is quite lovely. You have the option of the sidewalk or the bike lane.
Do you stop at the little belvederes to get a view?
Is that what they're called?
Yeah. Yeah, the little turnout thingies.
That's so great.
Yeah, they have a little historical, this little panel and a bench.
Part of Cranksgiving, which we also talked about, but you haven't heard. Part of Cranksgiving was one of the clues was like a sign in the belvedere, in one of the belvederes on the bridge.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. Cool.
I think it was something like, when was the... I don't even know. When was the such and such path created?
Oh, like maybe the waterfront path or Esplanade or something?
Yeah, I think it was the Esplanade, but yeah.
Yeah, Sellwood Bridge. Good bridge to know if you don't ever go down there or know about it. It's also like the southern terminus to a lot of fun just riverfront loops if you want to do.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to expand your boundaries a little bit and you've only been, across the Hawthorne or Tillicum, keep going and you'll get to...
Just keep going.
Yeah, just go a little further south next time and you get full car-free treatment all the way.
Yeah, and on the
Sellwood.
west side of the river, you can go all the way through Willamette Park and then kind of
neat.
Skirt through. There's some pathways that have connected up.
Yeah. Okay, so back on our track here.
So we've taken the
what happens
Sellwood
after the bridge? Yeah.
You just go straight, and you go straight uphill through the cemetery.
Okay, it's not that bad though. For people that haven't done Riverview Cemetery, it's quite meandering. It's quite enjoyable.
It's really
it's also
pretty
a hill.
and quiet, and it's a hill, and then it becomes like a steep hill. So get off and walk if you need to. Maybe check out the gravestones. I don't know.
You see
whatever you want.
Pamplin, the family that owned the Portland Tribune. You see there's some famous people.
Oh, you've toured the cemetery.
Yeah, well that one's so big you can't miss it. I think I've just looked over and seen it. Make sure when you're in Riverview Cemetery, folks, make sure you stay on the path.
Oh yeah, there's signs that tell you.
And it's not public right of way. A lot of people don't realize that, I don't think.
Yeah, it's private.
It's private. It's owned by a nonprofit that runs the cemetery, and their board of trustees would like to close it to bikes. The only thing keeping it open are the people that actually are the nonprofit executive director people are usually the barriers between this board of trustees of the cemetery that's always get the dang cyclists out of here. Yeah. And then the executive director, over the years, I've known 3 of them, and they've all been really cool. And they're like, hey, Jonathan, you got to tell everybody as if I have a phone, I could just get everybody on the line.
Is the alternative Taylor's Ferry?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's really a no-go.
Nice.
Yeah. So there's been years of back and forth, and they're always sending warnings. We're going to close it if y'all don't act a little nicer. Because people will go through there on the weekends when people are doing ceremonies or memorials, or there's just been interactions and stuff like that. So if you're in Riverview Cemetery, follow the little markings and just be really nice. I shouldn't even have to say that, but at one time we tried to I remember talking to Strava to try to get them to take it off their segments.
Oh yeah.
And just be like, it's a cemetery. It's pseudo public right away, and but
it's definitely. It's the place where you will get schooled by some guy on a carbon bike.
Yeah, that's too bad. So
it's fine. Whatever.
So
it's
going up
fine
through there,
for me.
It's a little bit of a climb, but it's fun.
It's a bit of a climb.
Beautiful.
And then you kind of snake your way to Boone's Ferry. You can also stop by. There's a Jewish cemetery up at the top of the hill, too.
That's right.
It's sort of a weird... I don't know why everybody got buried around there.
Yeah, that's more of a historic one. I think Metro owns that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I know some people that will have ridden a little dirt path back there by that cemetery, and there's some controversy about that. But yeah, it's a neat area.
And then we were talking, so probably we'd take the pathway by Tryon Creek.
I'm forgetting the connection between Riverview to get over to Tryon.
It's just sort of up the hill a little bit more. I don't know.
See, this
there's
route I
sort of-
can't
sort
check
of-
you on. I'm going
It's
to get on
sort
my
of
map.
like a straight right left.
Okay.
And you'll come to this like crazy intersection of Boone's Ferry and something else
I'm looking at Riverview Cemetery.
near Maplewood.
I act like people don't have a phone in their pocket and just to figure it out.
I know. I'm not allowed to look.
You cannot look.
I
Okay,
can't.
yeah, you come through the cemetery, you're on Palatine Hill Road,
Okay, yes.
and then you can you could just hit, it's
What's-
really right there.
Yeah, it's really right there.
Yeah, you can figure it out. Then you can just hang a left on 2nd, and they'll take you to Terwilliger, Boone's Ferry. Yeah, you could just go hang a left on Terwilliger to connect over to Tryon Creek.
Yeah.
It's close. So anyway, yeah, Tryon Creek is really neat.
Mm-hmm.
I
It's
don't know.
really nice for walking too.
Do you think everybody's kind of been on that? Is that a pretty
No.
popular path?
I don't think a lot of people on the east side don't go there.
It's really neat. And even though it is a City of Portland park, a very cherished one at that, it's got all kinds of cool nature trails and stuff. Highly recommend. They got a guest, like a guest center. They have like
a visitor center.
Yeah, they have a visitor center.
I like guest
Interpretive
center.
site. You can see all the animals. But what's cool about it is because there's an awareness that it's really like the only viable safe bike route between Lake Oswego and that part of Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally fine to bike on. So people shouldn't be worried about any conflicts with people walking. Although if there's someone walking,
Don't
it's your
go
responsibility
too
to not
fast.
hit them.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's not as if Parks is like, frowning
It's definitely
on bike
People are
use.
walking. People are walking their dogs.
It's pretty well known as a bike corridor. And on the way to Lake O, remember, right? It's downhill.
It is
Yeah.
downhill.
Yeah.
You worked for it.
Yeah, to get up Riverview.
Yeah.
So where does the path take you out and put you out once you get there?
Well, it dumps you out onto 43, which is manageable at that point,
Yeah.
and then you
Hang a right. You kind of manage
You're kind of like
finding your...
yeah. I
you're
don't
kinda
know.
there.
Lake Oswego's like ABC Street, so you take one of those streets.
No, and we know you don't pay attention to street signs
It's
anyway.
like
So
first, second, and third, and
Yeah.
A, B, and C. I don't know.
your nose should just
correct-
kind of...
Whoever lives in Lake Oswego, you can
Yeah, you can figure it
lambast
out.
me in the comments.
And then you'll be at like Main Street, and then you can check
Yeah,
the lake
exactly.
out. Just go dive in,
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody tries to say anything, I don't know. Okay, I'm not telling people to go
Okay.
dive in the lakes. Don't get me wrong. It's kind of a joke
No, you
because
should
it's,
definitely go dive in the lake.
I guess, like a private access only until they change all the signs. Anyway, yeah, Lake's cool. It's a neat place to go. But you have to share the story you shared in the previous session that didn't get captured.
We're just gonna keep referencing this, and people are gonna be like,
At least for 20 minutes, no.
Yeah.
So just so people know, if you go from Sellwood and you get up to Riverview Cemetery, for all intents and purposes, it's the only way to get up to the hills in Southwest. It's the only way to kind of get to Lake Oswego, essentially. But if you're big and brave, like Eva used to be, you can take Highway 43, although...
if you're in your late 20s,
Note of caution.
and you have little fear of cars, then
Yeah.
you should just take 43 the whole way.
You're really going to just say that and not qualify that with any... I wouldn't want
It's
to be on
mildly
record.
terrifying.
Yeah, that is not a place
There's like
people
very
ride
little
bikes.
shoulder, and people drive quite fast.
Yeah. I can't believe we didn't even mention that there could be a really nice path that doesn't require you to go up to the top of the Southwest Hills and down to... You could just stay on the riverfront, if not for a bunch of really rich people along the trolley line, along the streetcar
do
line.
we get that on the camera?
Did it not
You
beep?
mouthing some words.
Yeah, that's frustrating. Oh, I haven't dug up that controversy for many years, but anyway, there's every once in a while someone tries to, let's say, like make a trail along that old trolley line that used to go from Lake O to Sellwood and beyond, which is defunct and closed. And it sucks that there's no
Why
bike path
can't we
next to
use
it,
eminent domain for things like that?
because there's a few very rich people that live right there that don't want it to happen. But you can do it. I've done it before.
Yeah.
I didn't post it on Bike Portland because I'm too
But
responsible.
like you can cut through.
You can still do it. You can ride along the edge of the train tracks
Mm-hmm.
and then walk on the train tracks. There's a big tunnel once you get a little bit further south as you
Ooh.
approach Lake O. It's super spooky.
Yeah, I bet.
It's the old train tunnel, and it's like once you go in, you got to go all the way through, and then you can. I did this once with a
But
group
there's
of
no
guys.
there's no train that's going to be coming.
No,
Okay.
it's definitely like retired, unless it's. They may have like a holiday thing they do sometimes.
okay.
All the train people out there are gonna be
like
really
somebody
mad that I
bought a
don't.
single train car that they.
Yeah, there's back and forth. And actually, I do think they do that because that's how they keep it from really being mothballed.
Oh.
some old dude just
Smart.
tinkers on his train and says,
So
"Oh no,
smart.
it's an active rail line." I should stop talking about that rail line because I don't really know all the details, and I know people that know trains. They know trains, and they do
Well,
not
we'll
want me
have to go
speak.
on a field trip to the train museum,
Yes, that'd be fun.
which I've never been to.
Oh, the
Have
one
you
right
been
here
there?
by
Yeah, the
Omsi?
one on Interstate. No, the one on
Oh, the model
Vancouver?
railroad, Vancouver. Yeah, it's really cool. You should do it. Oh, it's really fun. It's like a
Vancouver
model.
and Russell.
Yeah, it's a model railroad thing. It's fun. Anyway, but so back to
It's derailing.
yeah.
Sorry.
You can go if you're on that rail line headed toward Lake Oswego. There is a bridge. It's the old basically Lake Oswego to Milwaukee bridge, but it's only a rail bridge, and it's also not in operation, but it's passable, and you basically walk over the girders over
This is
the
really
river.
scary to me.
Yeah,
I don't want that.
There's enough planks where you can roll your bike. I don't think we carried our bikes, but anyway, we crossed the river on this old bridge.
Yeah.
That's closed. Hence, there's no Bike Portland story about this ride. But then we got to the other side and made our way back through Oak Grove.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
I'll
why
have
they
to
were
check
gonna.
that out.
They had a big project years ago. Was gonna go Oak Grove Lake Oswego Bridge. They were gonna build an actual nice bike path, which should be there. There should be a bike and ped bridge.
Yeah.
But there's not because because Lake Oswego City Council said they didn't want it or something like that. A couple NIMBYs didn't want it, so it's not there yet. But anyway, that's that. Did we already get to Lake Oswego? We got there.
We got there. We're going around.
Now we're far beyond.
Yeah.
Down to Oregon
We're going
City
to
and
somewhere
Willamette
else.
Valley and everything else.
We're gonna go check out the hops farms.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we stayed warm doing it because
It's summertime.
we go anytime
We
of
have
year.
our heated vests on.
Exactly. We have our battery powered heated gloves and vests, compliments of Lady Mac's advice at Bike Happy Hour, which was really funny.
Well, motorcycles have heated grips. That's a thing now, right? So why don't bikes have that?
I mean, we should have everything motorcycle have. My car has a heated steering wheel,
Wow.
so we definitely need some heated.
My car has seatbelts.
Wait, that one's not gonna translate. Well, are you a bar mitt person or no? Are you a glove person on the bike?
Mittens.
Mittens. That's kind of a happy medium in a way.
I like mittens.
Yeah, I like mittens too. Lobster
I
gloves.
do also wear gloves. Mittens for colder weather though.
Yeah, for sure.
Because your fingers can hang out with each other.
Yeah, they like that. They stay warmer that way.
But do you wear mittens?
Ooh.
Or do you wear gloves?
I wear lobster gloves most of the time.
Oh, okay.
If it's
Yeah.
below 40 or so.
Those creep me out.
Really? Why?
I don't. It's
'Cause-
like nanu. I don't know. It's weird.
No, they're good.
It's cloven. For whatever reason, I think there's this deep affiliation with the devil and cloven.
Gosh,
no?
now I've
Okay.
got to Google that before I'm seen with my lobster gloves. People might get the wrong idea.
Well, old drawings of the devil often has a cloven hand, foot, hoof kind of thing.
All right.
And the lobster claw gloves kind of give me that vibe.
Interesting. I never thought of that. Wow.
So
Okay.
It's I'm at the therapist now or
Yeah,
something.
right. What else do let's talk a little bit more about your satanic
They're just creepy. I don't know.
All right, no, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
But it really is it's a nice kind of overlapping of the glove and mitten.
Yeah.
So I should get over my weird thing.
My favorite are fingered gloves that are half fingered but then have a mitt overlap. What do you call those? Where you can just flip the thing back.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know what you call those.
Those are handy because then I can work and do all my cameraing and stuff, and also have a little bit of warmth.
Right.
But,
You just.
Yeah. This week's going to be the real test coming up because it's going to get wet,
Yes.
which wet and cold is tough. And I was like, the Portland weather gods were like, okay, you've been a little chilly. All right, we'll give you 10 extra degrees, but we're adding water too. So it's going to be raining. If you'll get your 10 extra degrees, have fun. So I don't know. People are going to deal with that.
This is the
next
time
week.
of year where I check the Hydra network all the time.
Oh, the Hydra network.
How much did it rain?
Mm.
It's a very nerdy spreadsheet website.
Interesting.
Have you been there?
So lobster gloves give you the creeps, but you're in the Hydra
I
network, a secret underground
spreadsheets.
cabal of weather trackers.
It does seem like it might be a secret underground thing.
Let's see. Leaves in the bike lanes. Everybody's been talking about that because there's this guy, Michael Reiss, who basically is getting industrial sized sweepers and fashioning them behind his trike.
Just going to town.
And he's also like an electrical kind of whiz. So he's bulking up his battery packs and pulling these like 400-pound sweepers.
Yeah.
I don't know where this is going to go, but he's doing it. He went and basically shaved the leaves off of 2 miles of Multnomah Boulevard. It took him 12 miles of work to do that with all the passes that he made.
Yeah.
This is a committed person. So that was pretty amazing. I think it really shows the like frustration people are having with the leaves. Yeah, I've been trying to hold my tongue a little bit about it, but it's like increasingly hard as like I'm seeing these things
I mean, it's
pop
great
up.
that people are out there helping out.
Yeah. You're
Maybe
just going to leave
this
it at that.
Maybe this is where we are. This is like pre-World War II, like during World War II when they were like, everyone has to help out, like have
victory
a victory garden.
This is our victory garden.
Like bring us all your metal, you know.
Sweep all your lanes.
Maybe PBOT needs our help.
I think that'd be cool. They should, I don't know, deputize a citizen corps of helpers.
Yeah, totally.
It was so Bike Portland that the first comment on that story about this guy and his sweeping was someone pointing out that it's actually against the law to perform these kind of things if you're a member of the public, to do that in the right of way. And I'm just like, that is so classic. Come on. Anyway, but yeah.
You know, in our neighborhood, they had that, it's not a street sweeper, but it's like this aggressive water jet that pushes the leaves. Have you seen this truck?
I think I've seen the impacts of it. I've come by after it went through, but I don't think I've seen it working.
I saw it in action. I was like not fast enough to get a video. But it's like it blows a stream of water like at the curb, and the leaves kind of blow up onto people's parking strips, I guess, and the sidewalk.
Yeah, because our leaves are very like stubborn.
Yes.
If it's wet, they just turn into a whole different kind of like globular.
It's like glue now.
Yeah, and it sticks to the ground, and you can't sweep them up. Probably is what they do, especially after people have driven or biked over them.
Yeah.
So I could see why you need like high-powered water pressure.
It's like pre-compost right now.
Yeah, right. So I'm hoping before the rain. Well, if I'm PBOT, I'm trying to get as much of this swept before the next rain comes. It's going to be a big.
Is that tomorrow?
Big problem. Yeah, I just think they should put out an RFP and just hire a company to do it.
Yeah,
like we have trash service. Which is a private company.
That's true.
You know, they should make it a contract, or if they don't want to do it, let's have Metro handle it.
And it's different companies in different parts of town too.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, Metro should maybe do it. I think Metro is probably the one who signs the garbage contract, so they should do it because that way you could get the overlapping jurisdictions, wouldn't be a problem. Because now if you hired someone, if it was PBOT, like the person would have to not do the overpasses because those are ODOTs. But anyway, I just feel like it's a solvable problem,
right? And
it's increasingly frustrating that it just doesn't get done in a timely way, and we're forced to sort of have this feeling of whining and complaining.
Yeah. Well, they've cut
when
back
it's actually an annoying thing.
They've cut back their leaf pickup service too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Only certain neighborhoods get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's the thing I've been hearing a lot about. But gosh, there's been so much stuff just in the advocacy news world. I feel like I'm not able to get to all of it.
PPB conference, PBOT, PPB.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still processing some of that stuff.
Yeah.
I did an opinion article this morning about it.
I saw your last line reference the church sign that we like.
We just talked about that last week on here.
Yeah.
Which I probably wouldn't have used it if not for that, because it wouldn't have been as present in my brain. But I don't know. I hope it worked. That is one of like my typical way of writing opinion pieces that I don't set out to write one. It kind of starts like I'm just going to mention this one thing that I'm thinking about, and then it morphs into like, I got to label this an opinion because I'm getting pretty fired up. So yeah, it's really interesting what's going on. I think just the dynamic with the city and how they're responding to, some of these, to all the concerns and just like the unavoidably disturbing numbers that keep going up. And yeah, I'm just trying to, I had someone, an activist person over in the shed yesterday, just a friendly conversation about what's the best way to talk about this moment and how to express our concerns and frustrations around what's going on in a way that's like actually effective. So yeah, it's a hard dynamic to get just right, a hard balance, Yeah. Because it's really frustrating. And I know that people at the city care. I know that people at the police bureau care about this. Nobody wants anybody to die or get hurt. And they're just saying, we want to do more. And I'm like, yeah, we want you to do more too. And I don't think that's just like an acceptable answer anymore. I don't know if that's unreasonable to think that way. Like, how hard should we push them and be like, no, that's not enough?
You need to do more. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're basically at the point of saying, hey, Portlanders, it's up to you to stop dying. Please change your culture.
Well, there's so much like, oh, it's the budget's fault.
And there's that too.
It's drivers' faults.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, and...
That's why I think it's a moment where the community needs to know that the city is now, and when I say city, I mean police, I mean everybody. They're so, in my opinion, unable to have the quality answers and actions that they need. So they've come back to this idea that it's not us, it's just we need more money and people need to get their act together. Both of those things I agree with.
Yeah.
But in the context of how they're saying it, I think it's a concern that that's essentially what their answer is right now. Instead of saying, wow, this is not good. We really need to change some things in like a more structural, fundamental way. I mean, you know, I pressed Dylan Rivera, the PBOT spokesperson, on it after the press conference. I talked to him outside. I have it recorded. I just haven't been able to share it. Just kind of on that note of like, okay, Dylan, I know that you guys are doing stuff and things are happening and that you want more to happen, but people are still getting killed and the numbers are still bad. So what else can you do? What big, bold thing? And he starts going back into like, hey, we're like trying to hold on to employees at this point. We were going to fire 100 people last budget. And so I'm like, okay.
So they're like on their heels.
Well, that's how they're framing it, you know, from the agency perspective. Is like, hey, we just need more money. We can't be doing this stuff if we're struggling to pay our staff. And I'm like, at what point is it appropriate to then have that much staff if your product, like if the outcome of the service you're providing is failing?
Yeah.
It's not our responsibility to keep your payroll what it is, right? It's their responsibility to provide safe streets. I mean, this idea that somehow, it's just an interesting point for them to be. They're defending their record, which isn't good because people still get killed. They're defending their management of funding, which in some ways is very good. They do a lot with a little bit of money, but they need to figure out how to do something differently, you know? And that's just the bottom line for me. If they need to close streets or be more strong with their designs, you know, something has got to give.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think the new council will help, you know, push some of these conversations. But in the end, I'm concerned because, I don't think they should be putting a spokesperson to it in conferences like that, at press conferences like that, you know, to some degree. I mean, we have the police sergeant there talking, and then we have a spokesperson. I mean, Dylan's a great guy, no offense to him, but where's the PBOT leadership should be in front of those conversations, I think. Yeah. You know, would be
the director
of projects or planning. I mean, other practicing staff, you know, not a spokesperson. Like, we're beyond that, right? We need to get to the real deal here. So we'll see. But if I think if there's not like a real demonstrated change in the city government, it's going to get more and more real, like in the public, and it's just going to like reach some sort of breaking point. So we'll see what happens.
I think the public is just like so complacent that this is normal. I don't know.
I mean, gosh, that's really sad to think about. But I guess, you're right to some degree. It breeds that kind of the normalization is a real fear. And I think the city can have a role in that too. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
You know, at the press conference, the police sergeant was going out of his way to absolve the responsibility of this driver who just killed someone over on Division. You know, and like you see the video, and it's just like, so obviously you're not looking in front of you, and you just ran into someone and killed them. And
we call that windshield bias.
Yeah, a lot of it. And in just the statement, if you read it, it's like, if you hear it, he just kept saying, and you know, again, the driver stopped, no impairment. We don't think anything was a factor. It's all good.
I love too that they're always like, oh, and like it's above and beyond that the driver stopped. Like,
I know.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This is like we're verbally rewarding these people because they stopped.
Yeah, it's a good example of how that dynamic works with the police people trying to, they're projecting.
Yeah,
they don't want the public to get mad at drivers because they're drivers. They don't want this to turn into an anti-driver thing. So they project how they feel about it, and it's like let's make the driver seem like it's okay, which then just goes into this normalization thing. It's just not. They don't need to say that. Yeah, you know. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Anything you say about one party in a collision like this is weighted and judgmental and inherently biased. Like, I've been saying it for a long time that the police should just don't say anything until the full investigation comes out. Right. Tell us where it happened. what
This
the
is an
outcome
event.
was.
Yeah.
What time of day. That's it. And who was like, what kind of vehicles are involved? That's all we need to know. Because I've had these conversations with the police for years. And that's always their response is, I'm like, you guys just have a template. I want them to have like a Mad Lib style template for press statements. That's it. Temperature, sunrise, just whatever, time of day, location, the basics. That's it. Don't add those little details. Like anything they add that's like a subjective thing is going to be problematic. And the response is, oh yeah, but you guys are always asking, the media always wants more information. People are always asking us.
Just say we don't have information at this time.
I know, like that's literally your job. So I don't know, maybe it's time to kind of make that push again. I stopped making that push because there was so much turnover at the traffic division, and I would like meet with them and try to have relationships, and then the person would get switched to some other department or something, and it's just got to be like,
But there's
annoying.
no rote training that gives them a way to talk to people,
right?
Or a way to communicate the issues.
I mean, that now they're hiring more like professional communications people, but I mean, even so, like if you had a templated crash statement response form, it wouldn't matter who was doing it. You could have anybody.
It's literally like the thing when
fill in the
call,
details
when you call up and you get the like 1-800 number person, and they're like they're reading a script. Yeah,
this should just be like an absolutely template press release. I think that would help at least on that one little piece of the communication thing. And actually, it's not as small as people think, right? Because the local media takes those crash statements that the police does and turns them into what look like reported stories, which I think is a super dishonest thing to do. Everybody does it. The Oregonian, Willie Week, everybody does it. Well, Willie Week doesn't do stuff. They don't run that kind of stuff, but like all the other TV stations do that. They run the verbatim, basically, police crash statements, but they don't say that it's the police crash statement because they want people to think that somehow they like got a story. But it's just really dishonest because then people read that and think it's journalism and think it's reported, but it's not. It's the voice of police. So anyway, those statements have a lot of power. And if local stations want more information, then do journalism. Go figure it out. Do the work and add it yourself. So anyway, a lot of stuff going on that note. And then this ridiculous Instagram reel video that PBOT put out, like, within 24 hours of this guy being killed on Division, this person was just walking across the street in a crosswalk. So, and the driver, by the way, got cited for careless driving after all that attempt by Sergeant Engstrom to assuage the, responsibility and like make it seem like it was just an accident. They actually got that person for careless driving. So there you go.
What is careless driving?
It's a much lower threshold than reckless driving because it's not considered a crime. It's considered like a moving violation.
Okay.
And it's so low that in the past, before people like you and others, not you personally, but advocates pushed along with a lawyer in town to get the law changed, you used to be able to get a careless driving citation and send a check in the mail essentially for your fine. So we had situations where people would be cited for careless driving, like a bad left turn or whatever other little careless driving. I don't know the exact legal definition. And they could have hit or killed someone. And they get a citation from the police for careless driving. And it's essentially a fine that you can mail in.
Okay.
That happened time after time after time.
Like, here's my $250 and walk away.
Can you imagine being a part of that, your family, your friend, whatever, and someone mailing in a check? So anyway, it was so bad of a law that people got together, worked. The whole thing it's all on Bike Portland every step of the way. Ray Thomas was a big part of that, but they worked, and the BTA, the Street Trust, worked on it. Now the new law, not new anymore, maybe, I don't know, 2012 or something, it says if you're in that situation, if you get cited for careless driving and the person gets a serious injury or fatal, it triggers this new set of stronger punishments. So you can't just mail a check in. There's a couple options. You can do like community service. There's a community service requirement. The fine is really high. It's like, it's multiple $1,000s that you have to pay in addition to community service. And there's some other stuff like classes to take, like share the road safety class kind of thing. So that's a nice little silver, but it also has to be triggered. So the police are going to have to do a little bit more diligence to make sure, like on this one on Division, that it's actually marked as such. Because they could fill it out and just give the careless cite and not do the little box on there that says vulnerable road user. Anyway, so that's a part of it. But a lot of things happening in that regard, and that spot on Division is also where the city invested a bunch of money to make it safer just a few years ago, and it's clearly still not safe.
Yeah.
So it gets back to PBOT saying all they need is money. This idea that money is going to just save all these lives. It's not necessarily true, right? Because you spend your money to like put out compromised designs that are compromised by business interests, keeping your driving volumes as high as you need them to not, get into tough politics. Then
did you see
you're not gonna save anybody.
Kyle Johnson's testimony about, I think it was for the 82nd, better 82nd, but he was sort of like talking about Harbor Drive and how the traffic engineers didn't want it to not be a freeway. And he was like, and there was just enough political will to say, hey, it doesn't have to be this way. Yeah.
82nd is going to be another interesting test of the same thing. And I think it is unfortunately headed in a similar direction where it's a big opportunity to actually make a functional, significant difference in the safety aspect.
Yeah.
And it's still going to be inherently unsafe because of how centered driving is and how reluctant the city is to constrain driving movements really whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of gross actually in a way that they talk about their urgency and then the designs that they're putting out are very, very politically oriented.
Yeah.
These are designs that are politically safe. Right. So I think push will come to shove in the sense of like all these years of making politically safe choices are going to make them hopefully politically unsafe so that the pendulum swings the other way and people can start to realize, oh, we have to do things differently. It's time to like the 82nd Avenue plan, which was passed at council this week, the concept drawings for the design of the street, this chance to like, reconfigure the entire 82nd into our dream, just whatever we want it to be. They're still not even willing to say we're going to dedicate a lane for buses.
It's like a bus and turn lane here and there.
And the concept drawing they put in front of city council in the plan has a car in the bus lane.
Well, it's a turn lane too.
Yeah, and they're so happy to show everybody that you can still turn.
Yeah.
Why? They could have shown a bike in that lane. They could have already said we're going to make, they could have been a little stronger.
Yeah.
So, and the reason they don't want to constrain driving on 82nd, I mean, there's a lot of politics there. This idea that it's going to be unfair to the neighbors because the traffic that it might back up will go into neighborhoods. There's that, it's all just a big mess. I mean, I use that word quagmire today in my piece because I think it's reached that point. All these
What about
things.
205? Why aren't people on 205?
Yeah, it's a good point.
82nd should be a city street and 205 should be the way to get from Montevilla to whatever.
And what's interesting about the way these compromise designs play out in terms of politics is that they don't satisfy anyone.
Yeah, totally.
Drivers don't it's so interesting how many people are mad at the division fatal. People on all different sides of this issue because it's no fun to drive on. It's not nice enough of a bike lane. It's because they don't keep it clean, right? And it's still a lot of cars, 30-mile-an-hour car traffic, right? So there's still issues. So the bike people don't like it's not even BRT. They couldn't do BRT because they were afraid to prioritize buses over cars on division. So now it's just a faster bus, right? I mean, so what's happening is like these politically compromised projects are just making everybody mad. And that's what I say about something's got to give, where I'm hoping that our only chance now is new leadership at council and the professionalization of the delivery of the transportation service, thanks to like the reorienting of city government, where they're going to realize, oh, we might want to actually like be a little more different and not try to please everybody with all these projects, right? Which they're not doing. They're making everybody mad. And it was interesting because I was listening to the PBOT Freight Advisory Committee meeting this week.
Oh, yeah. Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. And they were being shown a presentation from PBOT about what PBOT's going to spend some of the local gas tax money on, what projects. And PBOT was telling them, hey, we're going to put bike lanes on Northeast Broadway from 11th to 22nd. That's one of the things we're going to spend this on. And the most powerful freight advocate in the entire state, this woman named Jana Jarvis, she's like the one. She's on the state committee, the city committee. She is the strongest freight advocate. She basically told City of Portland that, hey, the more we see these bike lanes pop up and we see our space as freight people being narrowed, the less likely we are going to be supporting your projects. She said it's reaching the point where we need to start thinking about dedicated streets for different things. which I think is actually a really good way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
We could have some freight only streets.
Yeah.
And then some streets that are more like not having freight or bike only without frigging cars on every single street, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's a good way to look at it. But that's why I think that there's this moment where, you know, there's sort of this critical mass of concern / anger / poor track record where I'm hoping that there's some kind of dam that might break where we can get to some, you know, good decision. But man, the gears of bureaucracy and institutional culture are very difficult to influence. It's an ongoing project, you know, to make progress on this stuff.
Yeah.
But
we'll see.
I don't know what else to do.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think we're doing what we're doing. Like, you go and you say, these are the things that our groups want, and like, this is what we think could work. I mean, honestly, the Rose Lane getting shared with bikes to me is like the most ideal thing. Like, it's the most used bus route in the whole state. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree. It should be dedicated bus lane with an explicit explanation that bicycle riders can also be in that lane.
Yeah.
If you don't feel comfortable doing it, that's fine. And it's not going to work for everybody. So there you go. It's not a true 8 to 80 situation. So the biking's not getting everything it needs or whatever.
But at the meeting, they said, we don't want to put in a bike and bus situation because the bikes would slow down the bus. That is literally what they said at the city council meeting.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I need to listen to that entire meeting, and I'm a little bit behind on that. But that's an interesting thing to say, right? Because then what are you saying? You're talking about speed. You're looking at
it's like the average speed of a bicycle is 10 miles an hour, and the bus is going 17 miles an hour or something. I don't know.
I'd have to listen to whoever said that and what the context was. That might have just been an off the cuff thing.
No, it was like the reason that they did not put the Rose Lane throughout.
Oh,
or
interesting.
something like that. Like, we considered this, but
that's so funny. Well, anyway, if they said that, that's not a great thing to say. That's not a good position for the city to take.
You know, that was
slow down the bus,
but that was like the rationale for saying, okay, we're going to improve the greenways. To the west.
Oh, for sure. They want, everybody loves let's just do the greenways. Because why?
I mean, I love the greenways.
It's politically safe.
But if you've ever ridden the 70s greenways, it is like left, right, straight, left, right.
Yeah.
And you got to press a button every 6 blocks to get across the street.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, fine.
I mean, the elephant in the room here is that the reason nobody wants to talk about, a lot of people don't want to talk about bikes on 82nd is because they think they've bought into this narrative that bikes represent a central city, elitist, white, rich perspective. And that is somehow mutually exclusive with what the people of 82nd want. Mm-hmm. That's what's happening politically.
I would love to see like a sidewalk bike lane kind of a thing, like a multi-use path.
You mean
on
something
one side or the other?
Yeah, you mean something innovative and creative and off the
just like what I think should have happened on Division.
Yeah,
like the inner part of Division, where if you're not putting people on the street with all the businesses, if the only people going on that street are in cars, like, you're going to get less business.
Yeah. It's going to make transit work worse. Transit will not work as well near car-centric infrastructure because you got to think about the last mile. People trying to get to those bus stops, trying to use the busiest bus route in the state.
We are all pedestrians.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So, I mean, there's, it's unfortunate that there's a lot of people in this town, advocates and, well, all the city basically, that's bought into this narrative that we can't do bike stuff because it's elitist and not representative of this person or that group or whatever. And what's really bad that they're doing, that PBOT is doing, is they're pitting transit times against bicycling. Transit against bicycling. That is so inherently like egregious to me. They did it on Hawthorne. That was the fundamental reason why they used the excuse on Hawthorne. We couldn't do a protected bike lane on Hawthorne. It's because it would slow down transit times. That's a choice that PBOT made to pit bicycling against transit. And what do? They hold harmless driving and cars.
Yeah.
That's just assume that it gets what it needs to keep relatively the same capacity, if not more. That's what they're doing on 82nd. The fact that I listened to that part of the meeting, the council meeting, the PBOT person that was making that presentation saying, we did try to look at bike access, but it would slow transit down. That is the worst thing that could possibly be said. Because what you're doing is you're creating a narrative that hurts bicycling. You're just creating this idea that somehow they don't work well together when they do. And not only that, but the fact that you're leaving out the true thing that's hurting all of it, which is the driving capacity.
I want them to do the
it's so
research
frustrating.
that's like every single person that's on a bike right now, you put them in a car and then you see what that does to traffic.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. They're making a calculation that if they upset the bike people, they're going to be okay politically.
Sure.
If they upset other people, they're not okay politically. That's at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. And that's why it's such a struggle, I think, for bike advocates to find the balance of how pissed off to be and how really real to get about this, because we're so easily marginalized for being too angry, because then we're just the out of touch, unreasonable radicals, right? And they count on that. But if you look at what's happening, it's extremely biased against improving bike infrastructure or the experience of people that might want to bike.
Yeah.
Time after time, big project after big project. So, I don't know where that's going to go, but I'm glad that Bike Cloud is in the room.
I'll just sit in my unreasonable advocate chair.
Yeah, and what they're doing now is I feel like, based on my conversation with the PBOT spokesperson, they're compartmentalizing all criticism and concern into the activists, which is a thing that bureaucracy will do in order to, basically dismiss concern.
Even though like tons of people need to walk there, it's super unsafe. Like I see people sprinting across 82nd and I'm like, ooh,
right.
I hope you make it.
But what they do, I think, downtown at the Portland building is that they've created such a bubble of positivity and sense that they're doing everything they can and they're trying as hard as they can and they're doing great work with what they have, that anything that's critical of that or questioning of that, it can't just be like a real feeling or emotion or a valid concern. It's the concern of those Bike Loud people or those Bike Portland commenters or the activists, which is what someone referred to it as to me this week. So that's, to me, is a red flag. Once you start painting a broad brush where concerns are coming from, that's not great. You need to acknowledge that, there's actually concerns from a broad swath of people. A lot of them aren't even voicing concerns because they're not part of this process.
Oh, totally.
I mean, the last 2 people that died riding bikes were, Black people in East Portland. That's a fact. During the same week when we had people campaigning that all the changes in East Portland were only coming from these white elitists downtown. So there's just like this incongruence, cognitive dissonance going on that's super frustrating to me. And
I can tell.
Yeah. So.
No better way to get Jonathan riled up.
What other topics do
we have happy things?
Yes,
Can we talk about happy things?
Oh boy. How do you like our new bike happy hour location?
Oh, I love it. It's really close to me. I showed up for the last 45 minutes.
I know, I saw you and I had to leave too.
It's fine.
But I'm going to be able to stay later now because I moved my practice.
Also, I love that the beer
hour.
is $5.08.
It is 8 cents? Why?
Because they have like a health and wellness charge that's some
so
like 1.5% or something.
I did see that, health and wellness. I
was like, I'm going to pay cash. And then I was like, wait, what? 8 cents? Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Well, they probably, so few people pay cash even.
I know, I'm weird.
But still, it is what it is. Yeah, it's fun. It's worked out good. Last week I ordered
there were tons of people there.
Yeah. Instead of free fries at 4, I tried these yucca fries that they have. Really good.
Okay.
Yeah, they were super good. So the yucca fries passed the test. It's a little different vibe than Ankeny Street, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I like it.
How do you feel it's different?
Well, the big thing to me is how you come and go.
Okay.
Being on the patio or being in the plaza and having that spillover in Ankeny Tap, especially when the roll door was open. It was so easy to just show up without really anybody noticing you.
Yeah.
Which I kind of liked, that permeability. That way people with different social, proclivities or whatever.
Like I sort of want to be here, but I don't.
Yeah, you could just kind of come in and know it. But now at the migration on Williams, unless you come in through the back, which I got to say is kind of the cool way, you should come in through the alley. Anytime you can come in through an alley, it's always cooler.
I did it.
It's always cooler. And plus we're back there and we're in the patio. But if you come from the front, you have to actually open the door to enter the space,
And then do people clap for you? Or
yeah, so it's
happens?
like that. It's like that being late to class vibe, where you can be like, okay, who's new? And then I'm like, the new person walks in. Oh no, I don't know anybody. So not that happens, because we're all so welcoming at Bike Happy Hour. But anyway, yeah, the new spot is fun. We'll definitely be there for winter, and it is nice that it's a little closer for me and for you.
Can I ask what the drama was? Is that public information?
Down in Ankeny?
Yeah.
Oh, no drama.
No drama.
Just a business owner trying to figure stuff out and
just
move with the punches. And
yeah.
I mean, they're just not making enough money to keep it open.
Sure.
Which I don't think is a huge thing everybody knows that it's a hard business right now. And the good news is that he's got the lease down there for like 3 or 4 more years. And I don't think he's in a position where he's like a super struggling person financially. Mm-hmm. So he's eager to like retrench over winter and maybe rebrand. I'm not going to be surprised if I get a text from Travis saying, hey, it's
Come on
now,
back.
yeah, it's now called the Bike Happy Pub. You guys can hold your happy hour here. Or, hey, I added a whole room for Bike Happy Hour or
Happy Pub.
Something like that. Travis, you're listening? Let's do it. Let's make a whole bike thing.
I bet Migration is happy to have people there on a Wednesday at whatever.
Yeah, that's been fun. And the fact that they were like, hey, free $5 beers. I didn't even ask for a discount.
Yeah.
So they just gave it to us. That's fun. No, it's great. I like it. Yeah.
Thanks for moving it to our neighborhood.
I haven't gotten much. I thought I would get more.
But there are other people that live in the neighborhood too, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I walked here or whatever."
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I want to mention was another bike shop's closing. Did we talk about that?
No, not yet.
Oh, on the previous
Tell me
one
more.
That didn't get recorded. Synergy e-bikes over on Powell. They had 2 locations on Powell. It was a shop that was like 10 years old. They had an ownership change. I want to say 3, 4, 5 years ago. And they also changed location, but it was from Powell to Powell. So they've always been on Southeast Powell, like within, pretty close in. But yeah, interesting. We've had several, obviously, shop closings. This is the first, I think, like e-bike store to close for me. And in the message that Sammy wrote, who's the owner, she said, we cannot compete with Amazon and Walmart or something like that. This idea that it was online sales that really made it hard for them to compete, which I've heard from other dealers in town that I think every season now, the amount of online stuff just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So
it's that, and then it's, those people, then when they have an issue, they go to Synergy. And Synergy is like...
Oh, you mean people that buy stuff online?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Fix this for me.
Yeah, that's got to be tough.
And you're like I can't.
Yeah.
I can try, but it's going to cost me, 5 hours of work because emails and phone calls and that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, there's that. One less bike shop over there.
How many bike shops are there now?
I have no idea.
Do you still have a list?
I used to keep a list. It was really fun, and I haven't kept it up.
Yeah, it used to be like the sidebar of your website, right?
Yeah. Does everybody remember blog rolls? Is that what we called them?
Blog rolls.
Yeah, it was a blog roll. So that was always a thing in the blogging world.
That sounds like some sort of bad food.
It would be on your sidebar. Every blog had it. Back in the day, little kiddos out there who weren't around during the blog times.
Are you 22 now?
But that was the coolest thing. And I really took a lot of pride in having, it was the best list of Portland bike links anywhere. I mean, that's not saying a lot. It's just one little city, but it was a great list. I mean, I had everything, any blog related to bikes, any bike shop, any bike business, any bike, anything bike related was on there.
Yeah.
Bike media, it was all there, but that stuff's all not there anymore.
Man, I used to read the Lovely Bike blog. Mm-hmm. Do you remember her? Valoria?
Yeah, I do remember that.
It was like a really great, she was like, I can look good, I can ride a bike.
Yeah.
And she moved to Ireland.
I mean, it's just like social media is now. It's just a little bit longer form and different. Totally. It's only one person.
I think there was less to take in. So it was like, you could read that long article. I know.
Simpler times. Speaking of bikes, I'm looking at this new bike for work, for Bike Portland, for my work bike, a sort of mini Bachfeets, like the Carry from Reiss and Muller.
Okay.
Have you seen that new one?
I don't think
Reiss and Muller is
so.
like this really interesting German brand.
I need to Google this.
It's basically a front loader.
Okay.
But it's Carry, like the person's name, Carry. Mm-hmm. But it's a play on words because you can carry stuff with it, right? So it's like a front loader, but it's a smaller bin.
Yeah.
And Reiss and Muller makes really, really nice stuff. It's like as high end as you can get for cargo bikes. It's like, so that appeals to me, and I'm thinking it might be more interesting. It's going to be faster to use than the Turn, which is currently what I use for cargo, and I'm kind of maxing it out. I need a little different cargo situation. So anyway, I'm going to be demoing one of those, so that might be kind of fun.
They want my consent to get into their website.
Oh, see, I got to get your opinion about it.
All right, I'm getting here.
I'm hoping the bin is not too small.
Yeah, it's just like a short.
See, they're trying to get that. Because I don't like traditional Bachfeets because it's just too big of a footprint for me. I need to be a little bit more nimble. So we'll see.
Did you ever ride the Urban Arrow Shorty?
No.
That was a fun bike, but like nobody bought it.
Huh. I wonder if it's a similar idea. Probably.
It looked different. So this just looks like a really short traditional Bachfiets.
Yeah.
So the Urban Arrow Shorty was essentially like the front wheel was like under the cargo. So it had a pretty almost normal wheelbase, but a small front wheel. So you had, I don't know, it was super maneuverable.
Like a wheelbarrow.
Kind of. Yeah. Well, yeah, kind of. Close enough.
But highly maneuverable.
Well,
Well, that'll be the test with this one because, you know, I need high maneuverability with my company bike because I like to weave in and out of things and do
the thing I
with my
love
hands
about the
and
Bachfiets is
whatever else.
usually you can just like throw stuff in there. It makes it easier to load.
Yeah.
And then usually there's a rain cover option.
Yes. Yeah, because I'm finding the turn that I've got, the GSD thing. I think that's when I have the smaller one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just kind of like maxing out. I have 8 basketballs in a bag that it's my current
Which takes
cargo.
up a lot of space.
It's really hard to pack the dang things because they're all inflated balls and they're like I have to separate them into 2 different bags and just to really take it. And then I have also another big bag for coaching that's been like.
What is the diameter of a basketball? Is it like 11
That's a good
inches?
question. It's 30-inch balls, so that's probably the around full circumference. So it's probably 14 inches or so. Oh God, you're right. So it's probably 10, 11 inches diameter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So do the math.
I don't want to do the math.
Jeez. Anyway,
it's numbers.
Yeah, numbers. Speaking of numbers, this is episode 33 of In the Shed.
Ooh.
So not a big
Jesus'
milestone,
age.
but I thought I'd throw it out there anyways.
That's like the magic age.
Yeah, so maybe number 50, I'll buy a can of pop or something.
I think we shared a beer once.
Yeah, right. Oh, I just said pop. I never say that.
It's
just,
like you've become an Oregonian.
Yeah. Is that an Oregon thing?
Oh yeah, Leslie's from here. She says pop.
Oh gosh. Wow.
Which when I first met her, I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Pop. That's funny. Well, on that note, Eva, it's time to say goodbye. Until
Bye.
next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Ciao.
Ciao.